So in this worked example, I'm just going to demonstrate how to use a number of if functions. So I highly recommend that you download the worked example 2.1 if practice file, or make a copy of it rather in your Google Drive, and work through these examples with me. If you feel confident that you understand the if statement, the if function pretty well, then you could also try to work through them and then watch the video. So we just have a series of if statements that we're gonna do here. So this first one says to write an if statement so that if the number in cell B5 is less than 100, the formula displays the message within budget. Otherwise, the formula displays the message over budget. So we're just going to say equal if. So if this number is less than 100, we're going to display the message. And if we want to display a message, we need to put it in double quotes because it's a string, within budget. So that's the true part. If the condition is true, then that's what it's going to display in the cell. Otherwise, we want to display over budget. And we hit enter and we see that 50 is within budget, but if we were to put 120, it would be over budget. 100 also over budget, but 99 is within budget. Oh, that was 50 before. Okay, so let's try another one. This next one says to write an if statement so that if the number in cell B12 is 100, then the formula sums the range C12 through C14. Otherwise, the formula returns a blank. So I can say if the value in cell B12 is equal to 100, then we want to put the sum, so your result can be a function if you like, the sum of C12 through C14. Otherwise, it returns a blank. And in that case, you just want to put double quotes. If you leave that empty, it's going to display false if the condition is false. So we hit enter. And we see that it summed those values up and put 30. However, if this has some value other than 100, say 99, then it's just going to leave that cell blank. All right, let's go down to the next one. So the next one says to write an if statement to display a message for the score in cell A12, and copy it to the cells below to display the message for the other score. So basically we're getting the message that we want to return in this table over here. And it says if the score is greater than 89, display excellent. If it's between 70 and 89, display satisfactory. Otherwise, display it needs improvement. So this is going to require a nested if statement. So I'm going to say equals if this score is greater than 89, I want to display the message excellent. I can put the text here, or I could refer to that cell if I wanted to in E21. So I'm going to put excellent. Otherwise, I have two more conditions that I need, or another condition that I need to check. So otherwise, if the score is from 79 to 89, so basically if again A21 is greater than or equal to 70, I don't actually have to check to see if it's less than 89, because less than or equal to, because it would only evaluate this condition if the first one were false. So then I'm going to put satisfactory. Otherwise, I'm going to put needs improvement. And this is called a nested if statement. So we have an if statement inside of an if statement. Be sure to have the correct number of parentheses there. We hit enter. It says needs improvement, satisfactory. So 45 needs improvement. If I copy this down the column, we'll see that 90 is excellent and 78 is satisfactory. All right, so that looks good. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one says to calculate the cost of quantities of olive oil in cells A through 30 through A33. So we have how many gallons of olive oil we've purchased, and it says if that the cost for the first 500 gallons is $23 and the cost for gallons per gallon for gallons above 500 is $20. So what I want to say here is if the cost is less than or equal to 500, then I'm just going to do the number of gallons times, and in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and refer to this cell, because then that way, if the price changes, I can just change it in that cell and my formula will automatically update. And this is an example of isolating our assumptions. So I'm going to click over here, and in order to make this so that I can copy it down the column, I want to use absolute cell addressing. A shortcut for switching from relative to absolute cell references is to use the F4 key. So if I do that, it'll give me $F30. All right. Otherwise, if the cost is greater than 500, then I want to do 500 times F30. I'm going to use the function key again, plus that value, I'm going to use parentheses here so that it evaluates correctly, that value minus 500 times the cost for gallons over 500. And again, I'm going to use absolute cell addressing function F4. All right, and close my parentheses. So that was a little complicated, but what we're doing here is we're looking to see if it's less than 500, just charge them the regular price. Otherwise, charge them the regular price for the first 500 gallons plus the discounted price for the amount over 500 gallons. Okay, and then because I've used absolute cell references, I should be able to copy this down the column, and it should update the formula correctly. So if I look here, this is still referring to these cost over here. And then also if the price changes, say to $25, it should automatically update my amounts. All right, so that's it for some examples using if statements. The next video will look at this more if practice. If you want to check your answers, the solutions are on the second sheet in your spreadsheet called If Practice Solution. So you can go and double check your work. Okay, that's it.